I think it's fairly obvious now that the illegal migrants crossing the channel every day on their little dinghies in their thousands, they aren't going anywhere. They're here to stay. The current government, they don't want to do anything about it. The lefty, bleeding heart woke activists, they want them here. And the Border Force and the Royal National Lifeboat Institution, they're helping them coming over. There is nobody stopping them at the point of entry, the southern coast beaches, and turning them around. And if a concerned British citizen voices a negative opinion about the whole thing, then we are being actively silenced. And the whole thing is pretty sinister. Now, you can't really blame these people coming over, because after all, Britain is the land of milk and honey. And what they get is just outstanding service. These people who wear expensive designer clothes, have the latest smartphones, they are being given far more help than anyone homeless living on the streets in Britain ever has. There are thousands of homeless Brits, army veterans, etc., living on the streets, being overlooked for people who come here illegally and expect the country to bend over backwards for them. And things now have gotten so ridiculous that they're being picky. There are many videos proving the fact that these people are turning down accommodation because they don't like the location or they don't like the setup, and so they're given somewhere else. Now, if you're a poor person on benefits in the UK and you turn down social housing, the council will refuse to house you. And there are private companies out there making millions out of this. These greedy sods have stepped in. They can see that they're making a quick buck out of this situation. And the government are happy to accommodate them and pay them. And it's the taxpayer who ultimately foots the bill. Now, take SERCO, for example. Now, my experience with SERCO in the prison service is they still do, I believe, have the contract for transporting prisoners between police stations, courts and prisons. And this company, while they held London initially over 10 years ago before spreading and taking over the complete south coast of England, they were involved in a scandal which was hushed up. Of course, to people like me in the criminal justice system, it was well known. Rumours spread fast. And so basically what SERCO were doing, as every prisoner transport company were doing and still do, is they bill the government for looking after and transporting prisoners. And it turned out SERCO were fiddling the books because they were billing the government, the British taxpayer, for transporting prisoners that didn't exist, or prisoners that SERCO no longer had in their custody. And so they were effectively defrauding the country, the taxpayer. Now, because London was a huge and difficult area to maintain, the government couldn't get any other prisoner transport company to take over, so they were stuck with SERCO. And they couldn't find SERCO a substantial sum, otherwise SERCO simply couldn't carry on with the operation, and the government just simply didn't want it. That's why it gave it out to companies cheaply. And so what the government did was they told SERCO they weren't allowed to make a profit for nearly 10 years. And so this is the company now, the same company that is charging the government for housing illegal migrants. Illegal migrants are literally being barracked all over England, Wales and Scotland in disused army barracks, hotel rooms and other places. And they're also disappearing. They are walking out of these establishments and disappearing into the British countryside, villages and cities. Now, as I've said, SERCO are billing the government, the taxpayer, your money, my money, hundreds of millions of pounds. And it's all going into SERCO's profit coffers. And the migrants, they're getting a shitload of stuff for free, and that's why they're coming over. And so, as you can see here, they get a lot of freebies. They get accommodation, houses, flats, and their rent is paid for. They don't pay a penny. They have prepaid debit and credit cards. Even the utility bills and the council tax, it's all paid for. And they can stay in these properties for over 5 years. Even if they wreck the joint, SERCO will pay for damage repairs. And they're even telling homeowners, if you give us your home to rent out to a illegal migrant, then the monthly rent will be paid in full with no arrears. I mean, who's going to turn that down? And so, as you can see, the situation long ago became ridiculous. These people are coming here in their thousands on a daily basis, and these people are staying, and they're staying at our expense. And so, who's going to stop all this bollocks? There's no political party out there who will stop them. People are saying Richard Tice and the Reform Party, but I don't believe them. You see, Richard Tice has, if you've seen any of my recent videos about him, he's been caught out. He was in favour of mandatory jabs and is now backtracking. So can you trust Richard Tice, the Reform Party, and his number 2, Dr. David Bull? No, you can't. The current Tory party government, they're doing nothing about it. As for the Labour Party, they will encourage even more to come here. And this whole migrant scandal, and it is a scandal, is going to escalate. And without suggesting anything, I think the whole thing is going to seriously blow up in the near future unless it's dealt with, and dealt with immediately in a common sense kind of way. So there we go, that's my video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and until the next time, Roger Trout.